Why do we push so hard for weekly team meetings? Well, let's talk about that today. Hello, friends. Thomas Joyner with Business on Purpose here. So, if you've listened to this podcast much at all, you know that one of the cornerstones of our system is this weekly team meeting. But why, right? Why the weekly team meeting? Don't most team meetings just turn into a task list that's communicated verbally to a team? Maybe just a box that's checked off so we can be face to face for 1 hour a week. The painful response to those questions is yes. Unfortunately, most meetings really serve little purpose and could be better communicated in an email. But that's the team meeting of old. In fact, if you do them well, they become a source of accountability for your team, a place to connect, jump start of energy, and the lifeblood of training for your team. Last week, I had a client come in and they're just frustrated. They kind of looked at me and said, I feel like we have the same problems week after week after week. Okay, tell me about those, I asked. And the next 10 minutes, we just spent listening to a myriad of frustrations and disappointments from the last month. My first question to them was, well, tell me about the last few team meetings. And I could tell that question was uncomfortable, right? We implemented weekly team meetings 10 months ago, and they started off with a bang. Well, we're so busy. We've kind of just put those aside here and there, and I don't know, probably done one in the last 6 weeks. Just got quiet there. I said, all right, we know the root of the problem. Now let's talk through why that's keeping your team from underperforming. You see, when we view weekly team meetings as just a box to check off, we miss the entire purpose. It's so much more than that. So let's talk through the components of an effective team meeting, and we'll jump off from there. Number one, it's something that builds community. You have to start every meeting with something that builds community. For us, it's big wins. We start every single coaching meeting, every team meeting, every coach's meeting, everything, sales meetings, you name it. We start it with a big win. For others, I've heard them talk about their highs and lows for the week. But is there something you can put at the beginning of the meeting so that your team feels like a group of human beings, not just a group of employees? That's building culture and encouraging buy-in. Second thing, there has to be accountability from last week's action items. Are there areas you asked your team to improve? I know that I, for one, rarely implement things that I know I will not get asked about again. But if I know I'm going to be asked about it at next week's team meeting, I will 100% find the time to accomplish it. And it works the same way for your team. It shouldn't be any different. Don't just assign tasks without following up and making sure that they got done, without critiquing the little things. No, that's how you make sure your team is following your systems and processes. You review it every single week. I'll never forget meeting with a client months ago, and they told me how powerful that time of follow-up was, and my response, awesome. Awesome. Now, do it again. And again the next week, and again the week after that, and again and again and again. The power lies not in just doing it once and checking the box. No, the power lies in the repetition and the predictability. The third thing you need, action items for the week ahead, right? If you're following up on action items for last week, you got to know what's coming the next week. And what I don't want you to do is just create a checklist of everything you want them to do over the week. No, what are some areas for emphasis that, you guessed it, you're going to follow up on next week? Does your team need to work on customer service and figure that process out? Do they need to clean out their utility vehicles? Do they need to improve the estimating process and follow the system? I don't know, but put it out in front of them and let them know that you will discuss it the following week. Last but certainly not least, a quick time for training. And don't overcomplicate this, right? Just pick a system or process and retrain on it. That way you know the people that have been around for a long time will have it cemented in their head. And that way you know that if there's anybody new on your team, they're going to be trained on processes. That way your entire team is trained on every single process a minimum of once a year. And that is powerful. I have a client that keeps a little notepad in his truck, and every time one of his guys calls him with a question, he writes it down, and he trains the whole team on that question at the next team meeting. His thought is that if one guy doesn't know the answer, he can be sure that he's not the only one. Somebody else doesn't know that, and week after week, he's getting less phone calls from his guys in the field as they're trained better and better each week and as they have less and less questions. Guys, that is powerful. That's a team meeting with purpose. Now back to my client. We rebuilt their team meeting process and recommitted to it. Because if they can feel like a team meeting, weekly, and if they can really implement a team meeting weekly, be held accountable for their actions, trained on the way we want to do business, then be sent back out to do the work, that's a recipe for success. So if you've given up on weekly team meetings, maybe just kind of rolled your eyes and just kind of going through the motions, doing them half-heartedly, well, this is your moment to grab hold of them and make them matter. Get a written agenda for every single meeting. Make them truly give you some momentum heading into your week. Your team will thank you. Your business will thank you. And the chaos will slowly start to melt away. I promise you, if you commit to doing it, do it for 2 months straight and watch your team's performance start to get better and better and better. It's time to start this weekly team meeting if you're not doing one already. Do it this week. I really, really hope that's what you decide to do. Hey, real fast, one thing most people do not know just about Business on Purpose is if you're a solopreneur, just a one-man show, or even a young business, or maybe your cash flow isn't a place where you can afford one-to-one coaching yet, we have an amazing online membership that's much more affordable. It's all of our content plus monthly accountability calls to help you build this in your own business. Guys, it's amazing. Everything that we do in our one-on-one coaching can be done on your own. So if you would like to know more, reach out because you need this today. Everybody who's starting a business, I say, get in our membership because you're going to have the tools you need to run a successful business, to build a successful foundation, and then really put a plan in place to grow that business in the future. Hope that makes sense. Reach out. We'd love to get you signed up. Have a great week. Hope this is powerful for you.